Wow, that's the craziest chunk of Bondo I have ever pulled off. Oh, I don't really drink, but I might need a drink after this.
I don't know where I felt like I get a little drink around here, do you, bud?
This might be a bigger can of worms than I want to deal with.
It's just too much.
We are back on the beautiful 1966 Thunderbird. In the last video, we lowered this thing. It was supposed to be 3 inches. I think we might have lowered it 4 or 5 inches. Also did some other work. Finally got it running and driving. It runs great. It didn't stop the best. And we were towing it home, and I might have ran through a couple different people's yards and almost hit a couple people, but that's okay. We ended up getting it to the shop, got the brakes working, everything is looking great. We did it was supposed to be a 3-inch lowering kit. I think we might have lowered it like 6 inches. She is hammered, but it actually still rolls, and I can turn the wheels, which is great. So we're gonna stay on this baby. This is gonna be a giveaway car, so we need to get it buttoned up. Now, the plan was get it running, get it driving, lower it, do a nice little paint job, get some wheels on it, easy peasy. Well, I got some really cool fender skirts for it because I like the way the fender skirts look on a lowered T-Bird. And let me show you what we ran into. Now, she is a pretty straight girl, but I knew she had a little bit of rust here or there. I didn't realize the amount of rust we had until I started messing with these fender skirts. And I started kind of grinding away some of my rust spots, and I hit 3/4 of an inch of Bondo. This entire quarter panel is Bondo. I don't think this body line even exists other than being sculpted out of body filler. So that's a problem. A couple other spots I'm not super happy about. I didn't know if this was the original white paint or not. I thought it might have been because of the way it looked, but unfortunately this is just a respray that somebody painted white. And it's got some really bad rust spots. Another one we found whenever we were playing with it, this entire front fender, fiberglass and body filler over rust, and this whole piece came out in one big chunk. I think I might still have it. Hold on. Let's see. Yep, here's a... Don't put Bondo over rust, guys. It never works out. It's kind of funny how really good the paint looked, even though it obviously came off in one big chunk. So we know going into this, we're going to find a lot of Bondo. We're going to find a lot of rust. Didn't want to really get that far into it, but there's no way we can paint it with all that shit going on underneath. So we're going to get this thing jacked up, get it on jack stands, start taking some trim off. I really don't want to have to take the bumpers off. That front fender section, I might have to. I think I can still keep the rear bumper on. I'm not sure yet. We're going to get it jacked up, start looking at it, see what the hell's going on, start taking it apart, and just grinding a lot of body filler. It's going to get dusty and nasty. Let's get to work. We haven't even started stripping anything yet. I'm just taking trim off, but look at this. I think I can pull this whole quarter panel off by hand. Oh my God. Yep. Oh my God. Wow. I don't think that's metal. I think that's fiberglass. Look at that. Holy shit. Wow. Yeah, that's not good. Oh no, let me get a chisel. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh wow, that's not great. Oh no. Oh, that's a bummer. I think we are going to open up a whole can of worms on this one. Oh, let's keep going. Damn.
One long, angry line later.
Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp. I am a huge fan of BetterHelp and just therapy in general. A lot of times, guys particularly, Not big fans of therapy. You know, my grandpa, if you were to ask him, if you told him you were in therapy, he would probably call you a lot of names and say you were soft. And how could you not deal with that on your own? That's what you're supposed to do. If any of that sounds familiar, you are not alone. 62% of adults think that therapy is a weakness, and they actually discourage people from seeking therapy. I get messages from people all the time that tell me my videos have helped them through a tough time. I always tell those guys, if you're feeling really, really down, maybe it's time to get out there and talk with somebody. In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, BetterHelp is sponsoring today's video to try and end the stigma that going to a therapist or seeking professional help is a weakness. I think we should encourage people to go out and talk to people, especially if you feel like you're in a rough patch. If you think you can benefit from talking with a licensed professional, click the link below. Like I said, my audience will get 10% off, and you could be speaking with a licensed therapist in just a couple of days. That sounds like something you want to get into. I highly encourage you. Thank you very much to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to work. This is not a good sign. The first two bolts I went to take off to get the inner fender out need cut. Not good. I've been fighting this stupid thing all day. I got the grill out, got the headlights out. I think I have one more bolt left for the bumper. Check out this contraption we got. Ha! Oh shit, I spoke too soon. No, I didn't! Yes! What a funky bumper. Oh, God. Oh! I didn't want to take all that off, but I needed to get the headlight buckets out because the headlights aren't working. Also, it was rusty in between them. And I still need to take this trim piece off. And it's, the bolts are all rusted. I think I'm gonna have to cut them. Not excited about it. We're looking pretty good. I am gonna take a break for a little bit because I've cut the shit out of myself 5 different times. We'll be back. All right, front end is stripped. Really didn't think I was gonna have to go down that far, but once I basically had it enough to get to the fenders, it was only a couple more bolts to take the whole thing off. But these are the problem areas. Both fenders are like this, just caked with mud. The little valance has some rust as well. So those definitely needed to come off. The center section technically could have stayed, but if you're taking it off, you might as well take the whole thing off. Headlights and stuff are out. The headlights didn't work before, and I think it's some wiring issue. Also, the plugs don't look the best, so we'll probably update those at some point. Oh, also, they got paint all over them, and somebody painted it. We need to keep going. I need to get the mirror off, windshield wipers. I want to get this belt line trim off, and then the Thunderbird logo. I don't want to take this stainless off, because this can get real messy. I've heard that this is a real pain in the ass, and I wasn't going to take it off originally, but there is rust underneath it, and there's no way we're going to paint it and just have the rust pop. I'm okay if we don't get super crazy and we tape this stainless off. It's always better to take it off and paint it, but if we tape it off, I'm okay with it. But if I get in here and start taking stuff apart to get this out, and this seems easy-ish, we might take it out, but I can already tell it's not going to be fun in there. This whole panel needs to come off. I think the headliner might need to come out. If I have to do all that, we're going to come up with another plan. I don't know what it is. But for now, we are going to focus on the rear. I don't think I need to take the bumper off. Well, there's rust back there. So maybe I do need to take the rear bumper off. Son of a bitch. God, this thing is just a rusty piece of shit. It runs so good, though. And the floor or the frame and all that shit isn't rusty, but damn it. Let's see how much of a pain in the ass this is going to be. You could technically paint around that, but it wouldn't be very good to do. All right, let's just keep going. I mean, I didn't think we were going to waste, a day and a half stripping the damn thing, but here we are. Let's go. This was one of the weirdest rear bumpers I've ever taken off. It's wedged in there, and then it's bolted. So even though I had the bolts out, I had to cut a bunch of them. It was wedged in there so tight I had to bust it out with a chisel. And I thought there was still some attached, but there wasn't. Did I speak too soon? I might have spoke too soon. What is attached? There's nothing attached. What is that? Oh shit. Oh, ha! The rubber piece. Holy crap. Oh! Oh my god, look at all that rust. Yeah, that definitely had to come out. Oh my, oh, that's heavy too. Damn! Look at all the rust on the ground. Look at all of the shit on the ground just from taking it out. Oh man. Oh, I am getting less and less excited about this paint job. Oh, that was scarier than it should have been. Okay. Whew. Hate taking trim off. Thunderbird restoration people, look away. Great news. Everything is stripped. That I'm going to strip. I am not taking the trim off anywhere else. We're going to do a really good job of taping it off, sanding around it. It doesn't look like there's rust anywhere else. I knew these were going to be a problem, and I looked online, and sure enough, you have to take the headliner out. You got to take the back seat out. You got to take so much out. All of those trim pieces all the way around the edges have to come out. Not doing all that. So I looked these up. There is a pair on eBay right now for 60 bucks. So what we're going to do is glue those bitches back on. So I just broke them out. Everything out came out pretty easily. I thought this giant piece back here bolted from the inside as well. And then I saw some screws on the outside. So that all came out perfect. Very, very happy about that. We finally have it stripped enough to paint it. Don't know if I'm going to do the door handles. That just seems like more of a thing. And they're also kind of funky from what I saw online. I probably will take the trunk emblem off, key, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. The main thing I was worried about was where rust is. There's not rust around the door handles, shit like that. I am not going for a perfect restoration. The only reason I'm even going this far is because I don't like to paint over rust. I don't care if it's a semi-okay bodywork, semi-okay paint job, tractor paint, you know, looks good from 10 feet. Way good with that, but I don't paint over Bondo and rust. It's just something I don't like to do. I'm okay if the paint job lasts 3 years, not okay if it lasts 3 weeks. So we have to do a ton of grinding now to get down to bare metal. Also, when I took this mirror off over here, something a little worried about. I've been talking about how much Bondo is in certain rust spots. This door looks perfect. This is an amazing looking door. I mean, I would think this is a 9.9 out of 10. I took the mirror off and there were some cracks. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I'll grind the paint out. That looks like it's a 1/2 inch thick right there. You can't tell, obviously, because it's a video. But when I feel it, when I run my hand over this, there is a giant dip. So that's a little scary, but that looks like really good bodywork. Nothing's bubbling, you know, nothing too crazy. But that just goes to show, I think we are going to have some mud in this baby whenever we get to grinding. I am going to fire up. Usually, on a car that I want to strip down for paint, I would take 120 grit sandpaper, start sanding it, you know, getting it kind of scuffed up, ready for paint. With this being as bad as it is, I'm literally taking a 36 grit grinding stone and we're just going to lean into it until we hit metal. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be dusty. Let's bite the bullet, baby. It's time. Oh, God, I'm not excited. I literally just sat down and, like, straight up facepalm, head in my hands going, what the hell? This is an inch and a half thick, and the body line is perfect. This guy was a sculptor, whoever did this. He might be the best body man on the planet. What the hell? Holy shit. This is so bad. I can't believe it was this bad. This whole body line is just Bondo, I think. I think that whole thing is Bondo. Oh, I gotta find a magnet. Son of a bitch. Is there any metal in this car at all? Holy crap, dude. This isn't good. Check it out. It gets really weak right there. Won't grab it all there. Won't grab it all there. A little bit right there. Nothing at all down here. Caught some right there. That's good. Starts to get real weak right here and falls off. Nothing up here. That's... Oh, no. This is how it should be. Look how hard it hits. That's solid. I can't pull it off with 2 fingers. Nothing. Oh, man. Oh, this might be a bigger can of worms than I want to deal with. I can't tell you how depressed I am. Holy shit, dude. Also, the patch panel that they made, this is like roofing tin. It's so thin. Holy shit. Wow. That's the craziest chunk of Bondo I have ever pulled off in my 20-year career. Holy shit. I don't really drink, but I might need a drink after this. All right, we're back. Vibes are still a little low, but that's all right. We're going to push through. I got my torch. I'm going to try and heat this up and see if I can't scrape it off. It's really good to scrape Bondo off with just a torch. You can kind of heat it up a little bit. It gets a little flexible. It doesn't work great when it's that thick, so I probably will just have to keep grinding away, but let's go. I was looking at the quarter panels. Still don't know if I want to buy them. They're really expensive, and they're going to take a couple weeks to get here, which I don't love. They also look like they're kind of thin. I emailed the company to see how thick they were. If they're like 22 gauge, I'm not even going to bother. But if they're like 18, then I'll get them. So I'm waiting on that. But yeah, looks like this isn't bad. It starts to thin out up here. Like right there, this is almost nothing, like 1/8 inch. That's fine. I'll keep that and just feather that out. But we need to come all the way across and then start getting into the rust on the bottom of the door and the rocker panel, and then the bottom of the fender. I think this front fender is okay. We'll still touch it up just to make sure, because who knows now, because there's a Bondo hiding everywhere. I didn't think this was going to be like the worst car I've ever bought as far as Bondo, but they did a really good job with it, I'll tell you what. Usually when there's that much Bondo, you can tell from a mile away, and I really couldn't tell on this one. I just thought those were rust bubbles. I didn't realize they were rust bubbles with 2 inches of Bondo on top of them. So yeah, let's get going, see what happens. I'll be completely honest with you. You guys know me, I work 1,000,000 hours in every video. I could go a couple more tonight before I called it. I am exhausted. This has ruined my spirit. I mean, also, when you're just hogging out that much Bondo, it takes forever. If this was like a normal rusty quarter panel, I could have had this thing cut off in 20 minutes. I'm an hour and a half in. I don't even have all of it ground out yet. It's just so much worse than I ever would have expected. It's such a good looking car, but it's full of shit. And they put Bondo directly over bare metal, which is a no-no, especially if you're putting it on that thick, because the bare metal has to have something to seal it. Bondo is porous. It can obviously hold water, you can see. So that's why you always want to put an etching primer on bare metal. You've probably seen me do it 100 times. You don't even have to like mix it up in a gun. There's a really good etching primer in a can. But yeah, this is why you never do Bondo straight over bare metal, because over time, the Bondo will absorb water and then it will start rusting out your metal. Especially if you use really thin-ass metal like these people did. Oh, man. Also, I'm planning on making all this metal from scratch because these quarter panels are $600 or $700 a piece. I think they're $500 and then $150 shipping. I don't know. If it's this bad, I might need to actually buy them, but boy, I didn't want to. Not even a little bit. So yeah, I'm bummed. I am truly bummed out. We'll be back tomorrow. Look at this shop. Jesus. All right. Oh, man.
The next day.
All right. I got this side stripped. Luckily, the entire rocker isn't bad. It's just basically where they patch stuff. They did a bad job patching, and they used really thin metal. And you can see where it's rusting out. That was actually part of a patch they put on at some point. I think this was done a very long time ago, too. So, you know, I'm not blaming anybody. But very thin metal, and it rusted out. If they would have used thicker metal, probably would have lasted a little bit longer. So we need to cut there, up, and then across. What's funny is even though there was 2 inches of Bondo, the belt line is actually still fine. There was no need for it to be that thick. I don't quite understand why they did that. I assumed whenever we were digging in, there was going to be a bunch of cuts up above, but no, it's not bad. It's really bad down there. All that's going to have to go. So probably best to find or buy a whole quarter panel. Really don't want to. Not only because it's so expensive, but I hate waiting. And I think it said 2 to 3 weeks. That's sucks. Yeah. We'd have to just play with something else while we wait, because there's really no point of getting everything else, getting the bodywork ready if you got to do a bunch of grinding and welding. We're not even there yet. We still got to go do the other side and see how bad it is. This fender was really good. A lot better than expected. There was one little spot, but nothing too crazy. This side was the original side that I was worried about because the bubbling is really bad and it actually has rust holes in it. There was no holes on that side, just a lot of bubbles. This one, actually, you know what? This might be better than I thought, because I thought it was bad down there more, but that doesn't look as bad. So let's fire up the torch, grinder, chisel, see what happens. Also, I was going to add, in case there's anybody watching, they are going, why wouldn't you just cut the whole quarter panel out if you're going to get new quarters? There's a couple different ways that you can buy quarters for these. You can buy full quarters. You can buy quarters below the belt line right there. You can buy them below whatever this body line is called. I want to see exactly where it's at. Also, a lot of times, you don't have to put a full quarter on. You know, these have been pretty bad. Even that other side, as bad as it is, I can make all that if I wanted to. I just don't want to very badly. But if they come back and tell me instead of 2 to 3 weeks, it's a month, I'll probably just end up making it. So it's easier just to kind of, even though it takes forever, just kind of get in there, grind out all your Bondo, and see what the hell you're working with. It's a lot better than coming up here, and let's say I cut it out way up here, and then I find out the rust isn't right here, or sometimes, you know, you'll only have it an inch around your wheel well, and you can just cut the whole thing off. I've bought projects like that before. There was a Mustang I bought one time. The guy literally cut all the way up here because that's where a new quarter panel was, and it didn't really need it at all. He had like 2 or 3 little rust spots. I just like getting rid of all the shit. Air compressor's on. I like getting rid of all the shit so I can see what I'm working with and then kind of make a decision. So yeah, let's get to grinding. I know I keep saying this, but look at how bad this is. It was, I'm not joking, it was 3 inches thick right here because this whole bumper was out to here. I started grinding and there was no metal. Look, this whole thing is just not attached. So instead of grinding that out, I'm just gonna cut right here because I already know it's junk. Oh man, what a pain in the ass this has became. I've probably said that 10 times, but I'm telling you, it's still shocking. Well, I got the quarter panel basically done. Cut out what is bad, which was a lot. And then came back here and I think valence panel. Oops, I just turned my light off. I think the valence panel is shot too. It's just so rusty. So we're gonna come in tomorrow, hit it real hard, get the video done. Cry a little bit tonight, and I think this needs removed. And the good news is I'm not seeing a reproduction. I don't know that they make a repop for these, so this just might have to be fixed, even though I can feel it with my hands. The Bondo is very thick through here, and it already broke off. This freaking air compressor, I swear to God. Okay, we'll be back. All right, we're back. Let's go. I think at the start of this video I said I'm gonna get it stripped and probably get the rust repair done. Boy, was I a sweet, naive little boy. The goal now is to get it stripped and hopefully the rust removed, let alone repaired, because we are just finding problems everywhere. This is the good side, believe it or not. And I still have to come in and prep the hood. Luckily, I don't think this is Bondo. This is just a lot of damage. Need to do that, need to do the trunk, need to get the bottom of this door, got to get the rest of this rocker. I think that fender's okay, but boy, I don't trust anything anymore because we took a giant chunk out of the front of it. So that all needs ground down too. So let's just take our medicine and keep grinding, baby. I'm going to go mess with the rear valence panel. Valence? I don't know. I always say it wrong. I think it's valence like balance, but I still say valence whenever I say it out loud, if that makes any sense. So I don't know. I swear I'm not trolling. That's just how I am. I'm almost certain this thing is so rusty it needs taken off, but we're going to find out because we're going to grind the living hell out of it. Let's go. Check out the bottom of this door. Just filled full of tar. Okay, we got her stripped all the way down, at least all the rust stripped. Basically all the Bondo that needs stripped out, we got it done. Looked these up, and they're actually welded on. So these aren't a panel you can buy like on a Mustang where they bolt on. Not only are they welded on the quarter panels, the mounts are welded on as well. So there's no way to remove it. But this was so rusty, I cut it off anyway, but we're gonna have to make this work. Now, there was rust here at the very edge. They still had 2 inches of Bondo all the way to here. I have no idea why. There was no reason to do that. There's like a dent there, but I mean, I would say 90% of the Bondo usage was just not needed. Like a little bit of hammer and dolly. I can't imagine how many hours upon hours that would have saved them. To put Bondo body filler 2 inches thick, you can't just lay it on that thick. And maybe at the thickest, you can do a ½ inch at a time. So that is so many different coats. So many different coats. Just crazy. But I got all the rust cut out. We'll have to do a little bit of rust repair behind on the inner panel, but I'm going to just try and see what parts I can buy, what I need to make. Like I said, waiting on a couple of messages back from the quarter panel place. I'm really hoping they're like 18 gauge and they just look a little bit thinner in the pictures, but they look super thin. And the ones that are the cheaper ones, they look like they're just made on like a brake, like they're just normal bends, you know, like just 90-degree bends. There's no like curve to anything. That scares me because I ran into that before with cheap quarter panels and rocker panels and stuff. You can tell it's just like a guy just bending them up, and there's not like an actual stamped panel. So I'm also waiting on that. After I saw how thin they were, then I saw the bends look really a little too straight, if that makes sense. So I asked him about that as well. So waiting on that. The good ones, the better ones, are $800 a piece, and that's gonna really hurt the old wallet if I have to do that. But these are so bad. I mean, I can make them, but do I want to? No, not at all. So yeah, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna get all this metal cleaned up, blow everything off so we can kind of get a good look at it, see what's there and what's missing. Because right now the shop is just a mess. Look at this poor CRX. She's just sitting here. It's my favorite car, and it's just, I haven't touched it for a while. I need to do a video on this pretty soon. The old man's supposed to be block sanding it, but he's a pain in the ass. Let's clean up some shit, and then we'll get a good look at it. Just figure out what the hell we're going to do. Okay, got everything blown out, got it cleaned up, and then whenever there wasn't an inch of dust on the car, I realized the top of both fenders just had all kinds of little rust spots in them, and the Bondo was bubbling. So I came in and stripped the tops of the fenders, just ripped through real quick, and it was just another case of way too much Bondo on top and no etching primer or sealer over the bare metal. So Bondo right over the bare metal just starts kind of, you can see it right there, just starts rusting through, and it doesn't matter how thick your Bondo is, it will eventually bubble. So I had a bunch of little bitty bubbles in there that I just couldn't really see before. So basically every rust spot, whether it was a giant rust hole or just bubbling rust from not good preparation, I have them all, I would say 95% of them cleaned up. There might be a couple more. Whenever we start sanding it, I might find some more. Like some of these little chips in the hood, they could be. I don't think they are, but they could be. I'll take it. Normally you would prep it with, 180 grit. I'll probably go with like 80 or 40 and just rip through here just to see what's what. And the good news is there's so much material on it, because I think this thing has been painted 4 different times. That heavy of a grit, it won't hurt anything. You have to go back over it, obviously, with something a lot lighter than that, but you can kind of just rip through it to see what you got. I am happy that the doors look pretty solid. There wasn't really any Bondo in them other than the very, very bottom. There's really not any damage on the passenger door. There's just a little bit on this one. It wasn't, definitely didn't need caked on there. Just needed a couple little spots. All right, like I said, I'm waiting to find out what I can do for quarter panels. The fender patches I can make myself, no big deal. The back panel, valence, whatever the hell you call it, we're going to have to make it work, but that's okay. That's pretty simple. Even if I do end up making these myself, which I really don't want to, I got to get sheet metal, because that's the last bit of sheet metal I have. So I got to order some parts for this baby, and we're going to have to just basically sit on our hands until it comes. I could technically start sanding all the white to get it ready, but there's no point of getting the white prepped if I'm not going to get quarter panels for 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe it's quicker. I don't know. Maybe they'll message me back and say, oh no, we'll have them to you in 4 days. That would be amazing. I would love that. But I'm waiting on that. So whenever they come in, we'll get them welded in, and then we're going to seal all this shit up so that it doesn't come back again, because that's the last thing I want. And we're not going for perfect. I've said it 10 different times. We are not going for perfect. But I do want it painted nice. It looks really good that it's lowered now. It's running and driving really good. If it was giving me any shit with running and driving or there was any other issues, I would not care at all. We'd have just rattle canned it or something, but it's a really solid car. I had this thing on the highway a couple days ago, buzzing down the highway perfect. So sweet. That's a video. Gosh, what a giant pain in the butt this whole thing was. Now I know the YouTubers are kind of known for exaggerating stuff. This is the biggest build on the planet. This is the most money I've ever spent. This is the craziest blah blah. This was legitimately the worst car I've ever bought as far as Bondo usage. I've bought rustier cars than this. I don't think I've ever seen 2 inches thick body filler that ran, I mean, essentially the whole car. The rockers were, the fenders were. I have no idea why it was that much. I assumed whenever I started grinding it out, there wasn't going to be any body lines left. I'm like, maybe they just put a flat sheet of metal in there and then they made, you know, the points themselves out of Bondo. No, it's still there. It actually looks fine. No idea why they did that. And it just takes a really, really long time to go through it. There is a mobile sandblasting guy around here. I would have almost done that. The only problem is with those guys, they don't like windows in because they can scratch windows and everything, so it wouldn't really be a good thing to do, but boy, it would have been nice to just have something to take all that down. Also, if the metal's thin, they'll burn right through it, so they probably could have just warped this and made it a bigger problem. I hate the air compressor so much. People probably assume it kicks on constantly. I swear. It won't kick on for an hour. Turn the camera on, boom, it's on. We're gonna have to wait to see what the companies come back. I really wanna stay on this one though, because this is gonna be a giveaway. But I need parts, and like I said, if they tell me you're not getting them for 3 weeks or a month, we might just make them, which is fine, because I can get sheet metal in a day or two, and then we'll be back on it. But most likely I'm gonna go work on something else for a couple days and then come back to it, so. Stay tuned for all that for more. Thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. This was a perfect one to sponsor because I needed to call and cry to somebody a couple different times throughout this process. Really couldn't believe how bad it was and didn't think we were going to spend 50 hours on this thing and just end up here. I assumed we'd have metal work done by now. Shit happens. It is what it is. Thank you very much for watching. If you aren't subscribed, please hit that button now for the coolest merchandise on the planet. Go to Casey'sCustoms.com. Again, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, comment, all the good shit they tell you at the end of videos. Check out some more of my other videos. Peace. I love you. Toothless Customs out. God, I'm ready for bed after this.